Hey YouTube, I'm on Swanton007 here to do my WrestleMania 29 2013 or XXIV pay-per-view review. We'll get straight into it. The pre-show, which doesn't count towards the total score of the WrestleMania, there was the Intercontinental Championship match between The Miz and Wade Barrett. Nothing really that special, but they did a fairly good job in the time that they were given. I felt that The Miz won with a figure four, and the way that he put it on was really good. He snuck it on from on the ground, and it was a very good way to put on the figure four. But apart from that, the match was fairly average. They made up for it on Raw the next night, but I don't understand why Miz won here. Very silly of WWE. It was on the pre-show. It didn't mean anything, and the Miz wins the Intercontinental Championship and loses the next night at Raw. 2 stars. Now, onto the pay-per-view itself. I will go through it. The pay-per-view opened with the Big Show, Sheamus, and Randy Orton versus the Shield match. I enjoyed it. The Shield did a good job in their WrestleMania. In their first WrestleMania appearance, they beat 3 of the top guys in the industry with a little bit of help from Big Show, as Big Show didn't end up turning face in the end and stayed heel by not helping Randy Orton out when he was getting pinned, helping the Shield win. But for me, this match wasn't anything special. It did its job, and it was a good job. They opened the card well, really doing what they could. The match ended when Roman Reigns came in, hit the spear on Randy Orton, and then Dean Ambrose picked up the crumbs and pinned him. 2 3/4 stars. Ryback vs. Mark Henry. This was nothing special at all. Didn't enjoy it all that much. It ended when Mark Henry was too heavy for Ryback to hold, and Ryback collapsed under his weight, causing Mark Henry to pin him. 1 star for that match. Nothing special. The night after made up for it, though. Then you've got the Tag Championship match between Team Hell No and Ziggy and Big E. Again, nothing that special. I felt this could have opened the card, and it probably should have. The crowd was into it a bit more than the other matches. But, going through these matches, you sort of feel like the weather was definitely affecting them in the ring. They were a bit stiff, and they weren't as quick and paced and upbeat as you'd usually see the professional wrestlers are. There were no real big spots from what I can remember in this match. Big E did have a pretty good performance. Didn't do anything special like he did on Raw, like pulling off the hand for the chokeslam. He did do that on the night, but it wasn't as big a moment as it was on the Raw. Ziggy and Big E ended up losing after Kane hit the chokeslam on Ziggler. And then Daniel Bryan hit the flying headbutt. 2 3/4 stars. Then you've got Fandango versus Chris Jericho. I was very interested in this match. I thought that it had potential to be a show-stealing match. And this was another one where I just even Chris Jericho looked a bit slow out there. And I assume because of the weather it was a bit cold, even though they had heat coming out of the ring posts. It just didn't click for me. I don't know, there's just something about it. It wasn't fast-paced like I thought it would be. It was a bit slow, and they kept doing their finishes, and I don't know, I felt like they didn't give it enough time. They only had 10 minutes or something, and they should have had 15, and they just rushed their whole match. And it just, I don't know, didn't work for me. Fandango won after a leg drop off the top rope or a roll-up or something. 2.5 stars. The next match is a World Heavyweight Championship match between Jack Swagger and Alberto Del Rio. I picked Swagger to win. I thought he should have won. But they obviously decided to go in a different direction, with Alberto Del Rio winning with a arm breaker, I think. I don't remember all that well, but I think Alberto Del Rio won from an arm breaker. It was the best match up until this stage. They got 90 minutes into the pay-per-view, and it's the first match that reached 3 stars. They actually did a good job. I was fairly impressed with this match. It was I don't know, they sort of went finisher after finisher after finisher after signature move after signature move, and then finisher. And I don't know, it still did a very good job. They really pulled out. It was a bit odd, but it sort of worked in the end. They pulled out a very solid match, really helped build for the next match. 3.5 stars. Undertaker versus CM Punk. By far the best match of the night. By far. I'm not the highest rated. I'm equal the highest rated, but I felt like this match was fantastic. The psychology in the ring, the ring work probably wasn't that great, but the psychology was fantastic. I love the way Punk was in the ring and he was disrespecting the Undertaker in there. He constantly slapped him and just like it just felt like that CM Punk was really trying to get in his head. And there was one spot, I think, where what had happened? CM Punk had just I think he hit the what's it called? He hit the GTS and then it pinned him like with his hands on his chest and did his tongue. I thought that may have been the end. There were like 2 or 3 stages where I actually thought that there was one certain stage. I can't remember if that was exactly it, but CM Punk, there was one stage where I thought he was going to win. It didn't happen. But like as I said, he did the tongue and the hands over the thing, and during the match he did the cut of the neck, and then didn't do the eyes. He knew he couldn't do it, so he didn't do it. But it was just great psychology in the ring. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Undertaker won with a big tombstone, jumped up and hit it. Great stuff. 4.5 stars on that one. I felt like it was better than... I had it 4 3/4 at one stage, but I felt like that was a bit lenient. And then I thought back to matches and how I reviewed other Undertaker matches. I felt that this was slightly better than Undertaker Triple H from WrestleMania 27, but not as good as Edge and Undertaker from 24, which I both gave 4.5 stars. I didn't feel like it was up to the standards of... It wasn't above Edge and Undertaker. It was like around there, but Edge and Undertaker was a tiny bit more entertaining. So 4.5 stars on CM Punk Taker, match of the night. Then you've got a no-holds-barred retirement match between Brock Lesnar and Triple H. This was so slow. So slow. It really dropped the pace and made it a no-holds-barred match. No blood in it, which was kind of disappointing. Shawn Michaels made a little appearance trying to... super kick Brock Lesnar and then helping out Triple H near the end when he was about to tap out Brock Lesnar by hitting Paul Heyman with the super kick as well. Triple H ended up winning, and they had some great ring psychology, but the match wasn't that entertaining. Triple H kept locking on the Kimura, just a bit slow. Brock ended up losing, tapping out to the Kimura. 4 4.25 stars. The final match of the night, a WWE Championship match, Rock vs. Cena. This is another match where it was just finisher, signature move, finisher. It was just, I don't know, the last 10 minutes was spent like, I don't know, the match didn't flow well. I felt like the weather probably had something to do with it. It was a bit lackluster. It did not compare to last year's match, which I gave I think 4.25 or something. Thoroughly enjoyed that one. This one, I've only gone with a 3.5 on this one. It just didn't live up to the expectation or the type of hype that it deserves. They did a good job in the conditions. I felt like the whole time I was looking for a Cena turn, I never found it. I felt like that's a whole thing with the IWC, and probably didn't help anything. So John Cena ended up winning that one with a attitude adjustment? Yeah, something like that. Overall, I'm giving the pay-per-view a 7 out of 10. Just didn't do it for me all that much. You had the Undertaker Punk match, which was fantastic, but nothing really stood out that much for me. The rest of the matches were fairly average for myself, and with the Undertaker CM Punk match, I only had 3 stars. The pay-per-view would have only been like a 5.5 or 5.75 or something, because it just didn't do well for me. So, guys, I'm Swanton 007. That is my WrestleMania 29 review. Sorry it's so boring. I'll talk to you guys later.